Two-handed swords in AVOWED are incredibly powerful if you've got the right kind of build, and some of the two-handed swords are actually my favourite in the game, including something called Hell's Tongue. And that's what I'm going to be showing you today, all 4 unique two-handed swords you can pick up in AVOWED. But just a last spoiler warning, one of the swords, the last one that I'm going to be showing, is available in the 5th and one of the final zones that you'll go through. Although I'm not going to reveal any story stuff, it's still worth pointing out. And I will be kind of vague once any of the main quest stuff that you might need to know while getting one of these swords in Galawain's Tusk as well. And something I noticed I've not done on my other weapon guides is talking about why these weapons are really good. Well, two-handed swords, they are great at high damage and stun. Maybe not as much as some of the hammers, but certainly still good enough. And you can block with pretty low stamina cost as well. So really, if you want to be the ultimate barbarian, they can be really good. You just got to tailor obviously your powers around it, root enemies in place sometimes, maybe even use the ranged ability that you can have, and anything that's going to speed up your attacks, maybe give you more health back, and yeah, lots of big critical powerful hits. So the philosopher's riddle you'll find at Castle's Folly, the island to the southeast of Paradis. There's a bounty available on the little green island to the left where you can also pick up Serok's pistol. And there is obviously a side quest on Castle's Folly if you want to go and clear out the whole island and take care of some smugglers. Once you've spoken to the captain there and decided what you want to do, keep exploring further and you'll come across some more ruins pretty close to the open plateau where you come across the smugglers. Climb all the way up and effectively get to the top and you'll find this sword, the philosopher's riddle. That's actually pretty good for attack speed. A full combo giving you 15% attack speed for 10 seconds, but also bonus hits from any hit dealing poison damage. If you enchant it, that increases to 25% attack speed for 10 seconds, or choose the power attack option, which will deal high stun and bleed accumulation. Now I normally show a bit of gameplay of the weapons in action, but I ain't gonna lie, this was early game, and so I literally didn't like the sound of this sword. I felt like the poison combo and a big heavy sword just wasn't the playthrough I was going for. But let me know if you found it good. I just always find poison a little bit underwhelming. But certainly that attack speed can really boost something that's really slow to use anyway. Onto the Emerald Stairs now, and an encounter with a mysterious skeleton sitting in a chair. When you disturb him, he'll summon a whole ton of skeletons that you'll now have to go and defeat. If you head to the south coast of the Emerald Stairs, you'll find it pretty much here underneath an outlook, just by the logging cabin. You can also pick up a unique one-handed axe if you explore the logging cabin a bit more, the woodman's labours. Otherwise, yeah, you'll go down these steps if you're coming from this direction, take care of some of these shadows and maybe some of the Delegamons and the spores up further, and then you'll come across some other stuff that's to do with a side quest. And then right next to it will be the skeleton sitting in his chair. And at this stage of the game, this ended up being one of my toughest fights. I don't know why, the skeletons weren't necessarily that OP when you look at their levels, but they just certainly were tough to kill, maybe because I wasn't focusing on the actual priests like I should have been. And that's the secret, take care of them first so they don't heal any of their compatriots up, and obviously any summoners as well, which obviously spawn in more skeletons. The archers are a real pain in the butt too. It gets even tougher because a barbarian skeleton will spawn, and don't forget it's no point using any kind of poison abilities on these guys nor bleed. But frost damage I find particularly good. And this is the archetypal strong sword. It does full combo attacks dealing high stun, plus each additional hit is going to do 10% bonus bleed damage. This perhaps might be one of the better looking weapons in the game, although there is actually quite a few that have this kind of blood running effect. Check out my guides on Great Axes to see pretty much the similar version. It will give you a full combo attack dealing more high stun and bleed accumulation but to nearby enemies, or successful parry deals high stun to the attacking enemy. Hands down though, my favourite sword, or two-handed one at least, is the Hell's Tongue sword. You can find this in Shatterscarp. You're going to be taking out an encampment of Zurips, and it's pretty close to one of the memories that give you a nice buff. What I really like about this is the various effects it gives, fire and ice. Hits will deal 10% bonus fire damage against enemies that have got above 50% of your maximum health, and any hits that deal below your 50% health will do 10% maximum frost. So if you hit an enemy and they go on fire, you know they've got quite a bit of health, and if they've got frost, then you're probably going to kill them in just a few hits. So you will find it at the Twin Offerings Overlook, and it should be one of the bounties for the Zurip Chief that you need in Furborn, all the way to the southeastern map. There's a few Zurips on a lower level, but otherwise you're going to need to park our up, so follow the path round. It's not too challenging or taxing. So get your jumping boots on and take care of these guys on the way. I always love a good yeet. And when you get about most of the way up, you'll find the Chieftain and a whole bunch of Zurips. Keep climbing all the way up, you'll find the memory, and very much next to it is the Hell's Tongue sword, which does increase your stamina by 10%, so pretty much worth it. And then yeah, on the map it's actually easy to miss, surprisingly, if you just focus in on the memory, is Hell's Tongue. I was so excited by its other abilities, I never told you its main one. Power attacks will give you 10% of your maximum essence back, and then this can be increased up to 15%. Otherwise, the parry option will deal high fire accumulation and poison accumulation to the attacking enemy. I just don't think it's really as good. Like maybe if you're intent on using this against much stronger enemies, and that poison and fire will whittle them down over time. But yeah, honestly, I love this sword. And then the final one is in the garden, so the fifth and final zone. So yeah, a lot of these weapons and gears might not seem that worth it. I guess they're designed to be just endgame rewards to get you through this section, and maybe another little one. In fact, there's like 2 or 3 different unique weapons that you can find in this one aqueduct zone. So when you get here, jump into the pool water and go down and you'll find Unmaker. Power attacks will deal 15% bonus attack damage, and critical hits deal high stun to nearby mage folk. If you go ahead and enchant it, which you still can here, you can do power attacks dealing 20% bonus attack damage, or parry option allows attacking enemy to take 50% higher fire accumulation, frost accumulation and shock accumulation. So in theory it sounds like the perfect weapon for this area. I do find the mage throw incredibly powerful though. You definitely need to dodge out the way, or you're going to be using a lot of healing potions or items. And it still felt just kind of ineffective, but that is the nature of these creatures, they are pretty tanky. I could maybe do more of a guide on accessing this garden area and how to get to the Broken Aqueduct, but it is about middle of the way through and it's effectively a large dungeon. It isn't as open world as the other spaces, and of course it is one of the last places that you'll go through. There's lots of secrets and stuff for sure, but yeah, you work it out once you get to the Broken Aqueduct area. Effectively, you can't really rush, you do need to go through each section. So absolutely, in my mind, Hell's Tongue is definitely worth upgrading and utilising, and this is definitely obviously good for maybe some of that endgame creatures, but otherwise not as good, and some of the other swords are okay for sure, but yeah, it's Hell's Tongue that I would use. And there we go, that's it. Go and check out the rest of my guides if you found this useful. Do leave a like, it does help the videos do well. Maybe leave a comment and tell me which one's your favourite, and I'll see you at RATBAGGERS for more AVOWED content soon. Bye bye.